Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. We've barely moved on from Dillian Whyte's last fight, and he's already taking up more than his fair share of heavyweight headlines and column inches. His demolition job of journeyman Malcolm Tan, well, that's quickly being forgotten, and we've all moved on to his comments about how he could knock out Deontay Wilder in 3 or 4 rounds. Confidence indeed. And how he has the power to knock out all of the top heavyweights. Then you have Eddie Hearn, his promoter, following that up by conducting polls on Twitter about who should Dillian Whyte fight next. So no surprises, champions Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder, well, they came out tops. So with many of the other top guys in the division either in training camp for upcoming fights or nowhere near as good at generating headlines, what I believe we are left with is a situation where fans end up feeling that Dillian Whyte is actually better than he really is. I think fans are rating him higher than he actually deserves. There's a number of people who feel that Whyte is legit and somewhere around that fringe sort of top 5 heavyweight in the world. I'm certainly not there yet. I need more. And a couple of reasons why. Because if you cut through the hype and bluster, what are we actually left with? So since that Anthony Joshua loss a couple of years ago, he's only actually had 5 fights. Ivica Bakurin, Dave Allen, Ian Lewison, Derek Chisora, and now Malcolm Tan. I don't know about you, but a couple of those guys, well, they're flat out journeymen, and the others, well, British to European level-ish at best. There's no world beaters there. The best name on his record is Derek Chisora. He's got 7 losses. It must be said, Whyte barely got the win against Chisora. I actually thought Chisora was robbed. But I guess that's beside the point now. So this year, we've seen just a few short rounds against Tan. It looked good. Whyte did look in pretty decent shape. He showed us a couple of good things. He does seem to be more serious these days about his training. He's looking after himself in between fights, so he's starting to live the life. Whether he's actually any better or significantly better as he claims, we'll have to see. I mean, that is something that is, well, the jury is out on that one for me. We actually need to see him in the ring against a decent opponent to really gauge that. So what of that? Can his promoter, Eddie Hearn, parlay all this hype and promotion of Whyte to the masses into a big title fight? It is boxing after all, and so usually that means money talks. But with that being said, it has been very curious that WBC champ Deontay Wilder keeps rebuffing the offers from Eddie Hearn. So I believe the last one was, and this was the one he turned down, the third offer, $4.5 million with US TV money on top. I believe Wilder's got a pretty good shot at winning that fight. I mean, obviously Whyte's in with a chance as well. So the fact that Wilder doesn't want a bar of it, curious indeed. And especially given Wilder is after a fight with Luis Ortiz, and Ortiz would not generate nearly the purse that Whyte would. It would be a lot less money. But back to Whyte, back to the topic at hand. So if Wilder isn't an option, well then what are we looking at? We're looking at Joseph Parker. So for that to happen, Parker has to beat Hughie Fury on September 23rd. I could certainly see a fight between Parker and Whyte being announced very shortly after that fight if Parker won it. Probably a matter of days. After all, Duco Events owner David Higgins, he promotes Parker. He's indicated that Hearn was going to be sending him some offers to fight some of his guys should Parker win and stay on in the UK. And Hearn has dangled the carrot. Look, if you want to fight Anthony Joshua, you have to get through some of my other guys first, like Dillian Whyte or Tony Bellew. So really the path to Joshua is through Whyte. And you can sort of see why they want that as well, because that gives Dillian Whyte a title shot. And he's obviously wanting that. So then he can turn it around if he wins and put himself on the path to a rematch with Anthony Joshua. Because clearly that would be a massive fight. The fact that the Twitter poll that Hearn did had a lot of people wanting a Parker fight It shows that there is some demand there. But I guess some people will have their eye on a potential Anthony Joshua rematch. That would be a massive fight. The question remains though, whether Whyte actually has the chops to beat someone like Parker, that's a whole nother story. It's probably not even worth going into, at the moment, into any depth because the fight isn't made and we just don't know where this is going to go. I admit I'm a Parker fan. I think he is somewhat underrated, and those who have only just really been following him in recent times probably haven't seen the best of him or haven't seen some of the flashes that others like me have seen over the last 5 years. It would certainly be a good fight. I'm sure Parker would be in there with Whyte and they would be trading toe-to-toe at times. It would be a good fight. But beyond a fight with Wilder or Parker, well, there's a Chisora rematch if they want it. That's always there in the background to make that fight if they need to. But I think with that fight, it's one of these things, you can't leave it for too long. Because the longer the gap is, the less likely fans will be interested in it. The whole bitterness, that whole rivalry from the first fight, that will fade somewhat from the collective memory of fans. And I was a little bit disconcerted to see that Eddie Hearn had Robert Helenius in one of his polls, and also Lucas Brown. I would say those guys, they're more fallback options. You certainly wouldn't, you'd hope that a fight with them wouldn't get made. That's kind of a last resort sort of thing. I'm not really sure fans would really be, what are they bringing to the table here? Helenius, he's well past his best, and Brown, well, there's some question marks about him, but is that really going to take Whyte anywhere? Arguable that it wouldn't, but, it's debatable. So who do you think is next for Whyte? Is he the real deal? Or is he a well-promoted hype job? Keen to hear your views. Drop a comment, hit like and subscribe. Remember to follow me on Twitter at boxing_squared. That's it from me. I'm out.